All right. So, hey everyone. So, welcome to our eighth meetup of software testing board. And here is the agenda of today's meetup. So, first, I'm going to explain what is this meetup about and how to share a comment, question, or a feedback. After that, we are going to have a talk by our speakers. So, first, presentation will be on shell scripting to test a volume of SEO pages with his. That will be by Abdul Hadi. And next will be Selenium powering UI automation. It will be by Srijit Jain. Then after this, I'm going to give you the introduction to the software testing board's question answer site and the meetup site. And after that, I'll explain how to be a speaker at the meetup. And then you can just subscribe to our YouTube channel and we'll just get a link to contact us. So what is this meetup about? So this is a completely online meetup. So what we do, like this is a meetup about software testing, and there are different. Uh, there are so many people working on a software testing area, but then not everybody knows all the topics and what's going on inside the industry. So this is a platform where people who are working on a different tools and technology, they'll just come and give us the idea to us, and you can take it up further and explore it. This is not a workshop or tutorial. So earlier we used to have this meetup where we all meet at one location, but then it was difficult to for the commute purpose. So that's why we made it completely online. This meetup happens on every fourth Saturday of the month at 5 p.m. IST. And as I said, we just introduce new tools, framework, technologies, or anything that is related to software testing. So if you want to, as a user, you'll be logged in through YouTube. You'll be seeing us online on a YouTube now. And next to you, if you're on a desktop, you'll see a live chat box. So if you happen to have any question, you can post your question over there. Any question, feedback, or comment, whatever you have, you can post it there, and we will present. We will answer your questions. Also, if you are from mobile, you can utilize the live chat option on your mobile phone, and you can ask a question to us. So today's first talk is, as I said, by Abdul, and a little bit of introduction about Abdul. He is a quality engineer at PayPal. He is around 7.5 years of experience in software testing. He has good experience with web application testing as well as desktop and mobile browsers as well. He is involved in all phases of software testing life cycle. So his core activities so far have been involved into requirement analysis, test planning, design, execution, reporting, and sign off and related activities. So here is a link to his LinkedIn profile. So if you happen to have any question, you can get in touch with him through LinkedIn, and you can get to know him further. So over to you, Abdul. You can take it up from here, and you can start your presentation. Hello, Abdul.
My
Hello, hey, Abdul.
Hello.
Hey, Abdul.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So let me share my screen.
Sure.
I just shared the screen. Mayur, can you confirm that you can?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. So, good evening. I think Mayura has already given a brief introduction about me. So let's quickly start in the topic which we are going to see today. So the today's topic is the usage of shell scripting for testing the SEO pages with ease. So before taking a look at the shell scripting, I'll give you a brief introduction about what is SEO. So SEO, the term specifies search engine optimization. So search engine optimization, on hearing the term search engine optimization, you can relate this to something related to the search engine like Google, Bing, like that. So what actually this term, this process specifies? So the search engine optimization is nothing but you owning a site. For example, a simple blog, you're owning a simple blog related to software testing articles. uh, if someone across the globe searches in Google about the search engine, about software testing related blog or something in the Google search, so your site should be on the top for the users to view, so that you will get a traffic in your page, and that will be used by all. So this is a simple knowledge sharing site. So say for example, you're owning a um, shopping site. You're owning a shopping site similar to Amazon or eBay. So if someone searches, and you are selling mobiles in that, if someone searches like best mobiles online, so your site should be on the top, or at least in the first page, so that the users can click your site and they can purchase the mobile. So how the sites are displayed in the first page and in the top. So this process, actually it is called a search engine optimization, where you are optimizing your web page so that the search engine can pick yours and display it on the top, so that the users can go inside, click inside that, and navigate it through the pages and purchase something. So for that, this is not an easy task to make your page to be displayed on the top. So this actually involves a lot of work. You have to have a very standard, you should follow a good standard in your website. You should have more number of links. You should have the relevant content for the query that has been searched, and you should not have any broken links in your page. And then you should have the query related content in your site. For example, if you are selling mobiles, you should have a lot of results that are related to mobiles in your web page. Then only the users will be happy if you click on that, if they come and visit your site. So all these things, actually it is taken care by Google. They have written very good algorithm to make sure that the results they are showing to the users is relevant. So this is not only specific to Google, this is specific to all the search engines like Bing and other Yahoo and other sites. So this is what called search engine optimization. Just in an additional information, there is one more thing called SEM. It is called search engine marketing. So SEM. So this is called search engine marketing. So what is the difference between SEO and SEM? So SEM is nothing but you own a site, for example a shopping site, and you don't have a very good way to make it optimized and show that on top in the first page. So what you are doing, there is another way to make it show on the top or in the first page, that is by paying, that is by advertising. So you're paying to Google or that agency which give ads to the Google, and you are so that when people search for any keyword like mobiles or some shopping related things online, so your site, your result will be picked and it will be shown on the top in the form of ads. So let me quickly show you that in the browser. Okay, so there is some lag, please bear with me. Okay, so here you can see, right, I have searched for best hotels in Chennai. So this is the query I have searched. Here you can see the result as trivago.in. So this is an ad. This may not be the best site to have the hotels, to look for hotels in Chennai, but they have paid to Google or that ad agency, and they show the result on the top. So this is called search engine marketing. Not everyone will click on this result. A few clever people, they will be looking, they will look for the actual result. So that there it comes the SEO. So that is the search engine optimization. So Google, according to Google, the tripadvisor.in is the best site which has the best, which shows or offers the best hotels in Chennai. So the next comes the Make My Trip, next comes the booking.com. And there are a lot of pages in for this searched query that you can see at the bottom. You can navigate to the different pages, 2 3 4. The users will not bother if your website or web page is in the second or third page. No one will go to the more pages, and they will look for your site. So here, this is here the search engine optimization comes into picture, where you have to work for your quality results. You have to work on your content of your unique in that we are going to see today, that we are going to test, and we're going to have that in our discussion. So what actually as a tester we do to validate this, or to make sure that our site is optimized, and what are the things that we have to test in our web page. So for that, and what is a best solution, or at least a very best practice that we can follow to search this kind of SEO pages, is what we are going to see in this the remaining session. So let me share the uh, go to the presentation. Okay. So here for this specific thing, right? Search engine optimization pages testing. This actually I worked for around 5+ years in my entire experience. So first of all, let's go in have a quick introduction about shell scripting. So shell scripting, actually, for the testers and also for the developers, this should not be a very new term, or a very new language. It should not be like that, because we are actually using this shell scripting, or at least the Unix commands, in our day-to-day lives. So if you see here, shell scripting is nothing but a set of Unix commands. That's it. And this Unix commands we can use in our all the Unix versions. So inside there are n number of logos. These are all the flavors of Unix. So if you take the Unix, that is the primitive, that is the first system, that is the first operating system. In that, it got evolved in the form of Linux. They added the graphical user interface similar to Windows, and then it also it owned by different companies. And the famous Linux Unix versions we are using, or this Mac, owned by the Apple computers, and this Android. This is there in all our mobiles, all our smartphones. So these are all the flavors of Unix. So see how the Unix has evolved right from the beginning, and it is there. The best part of shell scripting is you can use this Unix commands, or shell commands, in all these flavors of Unix. So how I'll tell you how. So in the MacBook, if you own, you can open the terminal, and you can use execute all the shell commands. You can Unix commands. You can combine all the commands in the logical format. You can save that in the form of the Linux versions. You can do the same. you can execute the Unix commands. There are a lot of apps to access the terminal. The app which I suggest is Terminal Emulator. So this app is the right where if after installing it will open like a command prompt where you can execute the simple shell commands, Unix commands, and you can practice the shell scripting. So it is in your pocket. That's how I can suggest in learning the shell scripting. So, and also you need not have to worry that I own a Windows laptop. I don't have any way to practice the shell or Linux commands. So there are online IDs where you can just search in Google for Bash online, where you can execute most of the Unix commands. And also, if you don't want to do that online, there is a app called CMD. This is actually Unix. This gives you the Unix terminal for Windows. This is a standalone application where you can install all the relevant packages and you can practice this shell scripting. So let's quickly move on to the next thing. Okay, as a quality engineer, what are the benefits, or what are the ways I can use the shell scripting in my day-to-day activity? And again, not this shell scripting you can't use extensively in all your projects. That is, shell scripting is not the one-stop solution for all your automation problems. So this actually solves some of your requirements that we will see here. So and again, like this shell scripting, it has a very good advantage in testing the SEO pages. So SEO pages, and also the pages which doesn't require any authentication. So if you hit any page, for example, there is if you're testing a movie website or movie booking website, for example, bookmyshow.com, where that doesn't require any login actually to view the content of the page. So in such cases, you can use the shell scripting to grab the content of the web page and to validate all the things content in the web page. So if your website that doesn't requires any authentication or it doesn't has any special single sign-on conditions, you can very well go ahead and use this shell scripting. So this shell scripting actually, using this, you can capture the content of the web page. There is a special command in that we can use in the Linux systems, that is called curl, curl. People also used to call us curl. So what it does, it actually grabs the content of the web page, and we can process that web page to do all the validations, right? Then we can have the iterations similar to all the programming languages. It has the iterations. This iteration where it will help us if you have large number of URLs that needs to be tested, that is large number of web pages to test. You can use this iteration which the shell scripting supports. That is the loop, like looping, like for loop, while loop. So using that, you can uh, run a number of iterations and you can perform the testing. Then the data processing. The data processing, I can say, this is the strength of the shell scripting. So data processing in the sense, I am giving you an XML. I want to parse that in Java. So I want to pick all the node elements or a specific pattern of elements from that XML. So if you do that in Java, you need to write at least some 10 to 20 lines or a lot of functions, or you need to use specialized packages to parse that Java to fetch or retrieve a different type of values. The similar case for JSON as well. If you know, right, JSON, it will be very huge file in most of the cases. If you want to parse or take any specific value in using in JSON, it's a tedious job if you do that in Java. Even if you are an expert in Java, you cannot do that within less number of lines, and you can't make a very efficient page. And again, if you have around 1,000 JSON files and you want to capture a specific data in that, your Java actually, it will crash. So here shell scripting takes an advantage to process the data, where you can play around the different type of files. You can fetch, you can parse it very easily. You can fetch the content within seconds. So that's the power of shell scripting. Then log file processing. So this is also one more scenario where you can use the ability capability of the shell scripting. So we actually if we work in the production environments or even in the staging environments, where there will be lot of logs that will be that will be generated every day in that log folder if you are using an Apache server. So if you want to uh, read or extract those logs that causes exception, those log that causes some error, or if you want to report that logs, so again it's more data processing, right? So this shell scripting, it'll help you. So in I have written a script to capture to monitor some 4 to 5 servers on a daily basis, report all the exceptions, capture all the exceptions, and mail all those exceptions to all the stakeholders in the project. So that way the shell scripting is very helpful tool. Then one more scenario where it will be useful for the testers is cookie based. Cookie, right? It's a file that has some data which is used for tracking, which is used for maintaining the sessions. It is used to enable some features in the page. So these are all the different functions of cookies. During execution, or when you want to test or automate a page, if you want to set some cookies and then proceed the testing, so shell scripting has its own capabilities to set the cookies from a file and then to test that page. So that is also a good capability I saw in shell scripting. The testers which we can make use of it. Then the next thing is assertion. So assertion, it's a straightforward thing where you can compare two different strings and you can validate the expected and actual result. So that is very easy thing in if you use shell scripting to do that. And then scheduling. So you have written a script to for the example which I gave previously, right? To monitor the logs in different servers and also to report that to all the stakeholders. So we need not have to manually execute that script on a daily basis to achieve this task. So what you can do, there is a special feature in all the Linux servers that is called the cron job. So the command we use here is cron tab. So it has this cron tab, right? I'm sure that all those who have run continuous integration will be aware of this cron tab, where for scheduling on a daily basis or scheduling on a weekly basis, we use this cron tab command and give the different parameters. I have to run it daily, I have to run every hour. In the Jenkins we will be configuring that, right? So the similar thing we will be doing that in the Linux servers. If you schedule that on a daily basis, you can save that in the cron job process. It will keep on running. You need not have to manually trigger that scripts. So that's an advantage and a very good feature that shell scripting provides, or the Unix servers provides. Then the last thing is email and reporting. So this is where all your work will get projected, and it's reporting is always a pain point in a tester's life. So you can very beautifully add the HTML tags to your output. You can form that as an HTML report, or you can make all the things, all the content to pass that to an Excel sheet, and you can mail that Excel sheet or mail that HTML report to all the stakeholders in the project. So that capability the shell scripting provides. So these are all the useful things which I found in using the shell scripting. Sure, you can also give it a try if you have any of the problem statements which we have seen now. So next slide we are moving to, I'm taking example on the usage of this shell scripting. So to find the broken pages, so broken pages here I'm referring to the pages that will not have error, exception, or it will not show the expected result. For example, you are hitting www.google.com. So what is the expected output here? You should get that uh, Google homepage. So instead of getting a Google homepage, if you are seeing 404 page not found, that's an error. No, no, none of us will like that, and also the person who owns that site, also it's a big uh, disadvantage for him that his site is not up and running. So and also this is like overall broken page. There are again inside the web page also we need to make sure that all our links are working as expected. None of our links are going for any of that error code like 404, 400 series or 500 series. Everything should work as expected, right? So for that also, in if you take that simple Google page, we have additional links like Gmail or the login. We have that footer links like about privacy. All those links are there. So these links actually, though the user uses it very rarely, we need to make sure as a site owner, I need to make sure, or the quality engineer, I need to make sure that all the links in my web page that I am testing is working as expected without any issues. So to achieve that, we need to make sure that none of our links in our web page is going for 404 or 500 series, and also it is showing a correct response like 200, right, 200 or 204, 202. So that's what the expected thing. So let's quickly see how we can achieve that in using shell scripting. So these are the two problem statements I have discussed. So as a tester, I want to find the broken links in a given list of web pages. So this is one a type of testing. Like if you are involved in an SEO testing, you need to make sure that more than the content inside the page, first the basic sanity check you need to make sure is all our your web pages or websites that you own does not throw 404 or 500 error. That's not a desirable output. So if there is any such error, that will be like a P0 or P1 issue. So to make sure that how, let's see how we are going to achieve that. And also the second statement, problem statement, is something which we discussed now, where in your web page, if there are a lot of links that navigates to different location, or it actually goes inside your web page website. So though all those links should navigate the user to a meaningful web page, it should not throw any 404 or 500 error. So we need to how, let's see how we are going to automate this one. So this thing, right, here I am going to show you the way how to capture the status code of one specific URL. So I'll just read through this is the shell command or the Unix command you are seeing. So curl, before itself I mentioned, right, curl is a powerful utility or the command in shell scripting, where you will get the content, entire content of the web page. And curl not only it gives you the content, it also has different options which we can make use of. So the curl hyphen I, capital I. So what it gives, it actually gives the header information of a particular web page. So the header, in the header information, you will have in the first line you will have the status code of that particular web page. It is a 200 HTTP status 200, 302 or 400 or 500. All this error code will be there in the first line of the output of this web page. So this output, right, I'm actually passing this output to another command. This is called head hyphen one. So this output will have a number of lines. Now I'm actually taking the first line, and then again I'm processing I'm actually trimming that content, and I'm just taking the code of that particular web page. So after executing that, the output will be 200. So this page is actually working as expected. So this command, this entire line, if you make use in your program, that is in your shell script, and iterate that, instead of this giving this hard coding this URL, you can have the n large number of URLs in a text file. You can using the looping, you can read each URL for every iteration, pass it to this particular command line, and then capture the different values. You can compare this and make sure that it is not 400 or 500 series. And then if it is a 400 or 500 series, you can actually fetch those values and then mail those things to the to yourself or to all the developers, so that this can be fixed instantly, or at least this is reported correctly. So this is the solution which we can make out of this problem. So this is a very simple thing, right? Why we should go for shell scripting? Why can't we use some other language, like the common language which you use, like Java, right? So this one page for one URL or two URL, that is fine. uh, we had in our project, like we had like 10,000 URLs. So people who are expert in Java, actually they tried doing that in Java by capturing the information, parsing that, and fetching the value, comparing that. So all this process, right? Even when they executed that in the thread in the form of threads to run that parallelly, it took 4 to 5 hours to execute everything. And during a few times, they also had that Java crash happened. The Eclipse got crashed. It is not able to uh, hold this much load. So that's a power of shell scripting, which we all can make use of. So moving to the next thing. So these are the different use cases which we can make use in our day-to-day testing. So the first thing, right, we saw in the previous slide, to find the broken URLs in our web page or from the list of URLs. Then you can make use as a server manager also. So if you take a QA, not everyone will be very focused, and they will be having this testing or validation work. Their deliverable may also have more of a DevOps, right? To take an end-to-end responsibility of right from deploying it to the servers. They need to monitor the servers for different values, or they need to monitor the disk space in the server, or they need to restart the servers in a regular interval. So all this process can be automated using shell scripting. So that's a power of and that's the advantage we can make use in shell scripting. So the next one is the data file comparison testing. So data or file comparison, it is very easy to compare large set of data or large files. If you want to compare two different file which has 1,000 or 10,000 lines, there is a command in shell scripting. It is called as CMP. So if using that command CMP file 1 space file 2, if you give that, the difference between the two files, it will get you will be getting as an output. So just to correct that, it's a diff file 1 file 2, that's the exact syntax. So diff and sdiff, these are the two commands in shell scripting where you can use to compare two different files. So this is not very much friendly if you compare the two files using some other language. And one more thing to mention here, when I talk all the strengths and capabilities of shell scripting, there are certain things that will have a common thing across all the scripting languages like Python, Perl, and other scripting languages. So it is actually common across all the languages. But the unique thing in shell scripting is it's like a native language for all the Unix based system. So you do not have to install any additional language scripting language to make to use this. So since this is a native language, you can use the power to its full extent. So that's why I chose shell scripting. Then we have that web elements testing. So your web page has different links or different images. You want to validate the URLs of that particular image, or the text color, or text font color, font style, all those CSS properties you have to validate. This can be done easily using shell scripting, where the curl command, which I mentioned before, it actually grabs the entire web page, and then from that web page, in the sense it actually collects the entire page source, and from there you can parse that web page source, and you can fetch the values, and you can compare that using the expected values, and you can form as a reporting. So that's web elements testing is it will be very useful if you do initial scripting. Then set cookie and test a web page. This actually we discussed in our previous slide. It's the second slide, I hope. So that is also a capability or the use case we can do using the shell scripting. Moving to the next one. So I have given some more useful commands for automating an SEO site to test different scenarios. So you can actually go through this thing. So if I can actually quickly tell the usage of each and every command I have written here. So the curl, right, it is used to grab the grab the content of a web page source, or to get the header information of a particular web page. That is the usage of curl. And again, it's a very powerful utility in shell scripting. So the next one is grep. Grep, actually it is the synonym, we can say it as find. You want to find any pattern and in a list of lines in a web page, not web page, in a file, or in a number of lines. You can use the grep, and you can give an option to print that line. So cut is used to trim. For this is a looping, similar the way we have in all the languages. So GTLD, it is greater than or less than. In some flavors of Linux, we have that greater than or less than symbols. Some flavors of Linux supports GT and LT. So this is used for the comparison. And then sed, and then awk. So these two are the powerful text processing utilities in shell scripting. So this sed is there, right? This is called a stream editor. That's the we are making that as a short form as sed. So this sed processes the files in line by line, row wise. This is the usage of sed, where you can actually replace the strings with the original value and the new value. So you can replace that, cut the text file in your own thing. So this is more like used to parse the particular file. It may be of any format like XML or JSON. The sed does magic in parsing that. So then comes the awk. This awk, again, it is like a different utility. Also, they claim that this is a different programming language, where this is used to process the text in column wise. That is, this is used to parse the text in row wise. This is like column wise. That's how. If you learn more about it, you can come to know. And again, there is a book called The Sed and Awk by that O'Reilly publication. So that's a useful book to learn more about the sed and awk. These are the powerful utilities which we can install in the Unix system, and we can make use of. And then a mail or mut, this is used for reporting these commands, uh, where in your Linux system, if you want to send a report in the HTML format or an Excel sheet, if you want to attach and you want to send it to all, you can use this mail or mut command, and then you can add the subject there, you can add all the recipients, and then you can attach the file you want, and then you can send it to across all the people. So these are all no, this is not restricted only to this list. There are a lot of commands we can that are there in shell, but these are all the frequently used commands in my experience, so that just shared it. You can explore a lot of things. And coming to the last thing, right? Limitations. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, so shell is not the one-stop solution for all your problems, testing automation problems. So it actually solves most or at least few of your problems. So it has also its own limitation that we can see here. So the first one is it's does not support object oriented programming, where other scripting languages like Perl, Ruby, Python, it supports the object oriented programming features. That's a bit drawback in shell scripting, but that doesn't stops you in performing writing small pieces of script and execute volume of test cases or volume of URLs if you want to test. Then there is a very shell scripting is a very good option, but it's a procedural language. You have to write step by step. But it has its own functions. You can create functions, and you can make the code reusable to some extent, but it doesn't have all the oops related things. It's not an object oriented programming language. The next one is, as I mentioned, I was very clear in before the start of this presentation that I have made use this of this shell scripting for all the SEO pages. That is the pages that doesn't have the user to log in and view the content. Right? You hit the URL, you will get the content there. So in that case, in those scenarios, the shell scripting it will be helpful. But the when you say about I need to log in using username and password and enter navigate to some page, and then I have to test or get some content, then that will not be possible in shell scripting. Here we do have some options like use giving username and password, but that is all for some simple authentication websites, not for today's authentication with a lot of encryption, right? That doesn't work in shell scripting. So that's one limitation. Then user interaction UI testing. So in Selenium we used to click on particular thing, or we need to hover on particular thing, you will be testing the real UI. So those things are not possible, since we are actually grabbing the content of a web page source or web page, and then we are testing that. So user interaction or UI related testing, it's not possible in shell scripting. Then the next one, uh, uh, so this is like initially if you learn, if you are a very good Java programmer, you are very much used to that IDE, then you will feel difficulty in learning the shell scripting. Unless you have very passion about all these things which we have seen. If you don't have interest, then it will be somewhat difficult, because the debugging is a bit difficult, where if you execute that program and if you are finding some error, it will be somewhat hard for a new person who starts to write the scripting to figure out and fix that, because it is very much case sensitive. Even the caps uppercase in one of your command or one of the syntax which you are writing, if there is any uppercase, it will throw the error, but it will be hard for you to find and fix that error. But if you are very much experienced, I used to write all my scripting in my either in Notepad or Notepad plus plus, and then just copy paste, it will execute. I don't find any error. I need to manipulate the error to make sure that okay, this is how the error looks like. So this will come out of experience. But in the initial days, I'll tell you that I struggled a lot in finding fixing that errors. It's not like the Java or the Selenium code you write and instantly it will give you suggestions that this is, you should not use this. This utility is not there in your system. That kind of good error in reporting is, it's not there in shell scripting. But I do came across certain IDEs where you can use this shell scripting for uh, to write that in the IDs, where if you go that way, it will be more useful. And even people who want to learn Java, if they really want to remember the syntax and if they want to excel master in Java, people will recommend to write that in a notepad, right? So that you don't just keep on typing without knowing, understanding the code. So that thing, it's in shell scripting as well. So you can you have to write in a notepad or directly in the terminal, and you have to execute that. So that's one limitation. Then the next thing, this one, if you use shell scripting extensively across a lot of platforms, you will come across this problem, where the script you write in one flavor of Unix, it will have some compatibility issue if you port the same script to other flavor of Linux. But to start with, you don't have to worry about that, because we are not going to write in different, make it to work on all the flavors of Linux, right? One's example related to this compatibility, like if you want to compare two strings in a if condition, right? For example, A and B, you want to compare these two variables. So you, in one flavor of Linux, you will be writing as A greater than symbol, right? Greater than symbol B, and then you will be proceeding with other statements. So if you just port it into another flavor of Linux, we have the flavors of Linux like CentOS, RHEL OS, like Red Hat Linux package. So in other flavor of Linux, it will throw error that greater than or less than symbol is not supported here, and in that case you have to use GT and LT, greater than GT, less than LT, to make it work. So that kind of small modification you have to do. So that's a bit uncomfort that may cause when you just keep on accessing this, using this shell scripting across multiple flavors of Unix. Yeah. Other than this limitation, I don't find anything to that stop me or stop you to use the shell scripting for the problems, the problem statements or the use cases which we discussed. Yeah, I'm done with the presentation. So if you have any questions, you can post in the YouTube channel, and I just hand over to Mayur.
Sure. Thank you so much, Abdul. That was a great presentation and lots and lots of valuable information. So, to the guys online, if you have any questions, feel free to post it through YouTube. You should be seeing a YouTube live chat there, which you can utilize to post a question. Meanwhile, I have a couple of questions from the users. All right. So first user Namita from the other channel, she asked like, is that possible to do the shell scripting on a Windows-based computer?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, there is an application called a Sigwin,
Mhm.
CYGWIN, where we can install that Sigwin. That is a Windows-based application. It has, while installing, you can install, add all the relevant packages that will be useful for your testing. And if the installation is completed, it will give you a Linux like environment, where Linux like terminal, where you can execute all the shell commands. Shell scripting can be done in
Okay.
Windows environment.
So
So
it's
Sigwin
possible.
is the solution. Yeah,
Okay.
it's possible.
All right. There is another user called Ram, and he is asked like see there are so many ready-made tools available as well. Like if you just give the URL, you get all the information about the web page. So how this shell scripting will help me uh, to get more result? Like what is the difference between shell scripting basically and the tools?
Okay, so there are again the use case which we discussed to find the broken pages. So this we can do in online tools as well, like broken page finder. If you Google it, you will get a lot of sites where you can copy paste all your URLs. If you put there, you will get all the broken links. So if you give 100 URLs, you will get 10 URLs that are broken, which has 404 or 500 values. So it is possible there. But what shell scripting is, you can't have if you want to have code, and if you want to run on a daily basis, so you can't actually keep on copy paste your all your website content into a third party website and execute there, right? It may also have some security violations where you are exposing all your list of URLs to a third party site. They may also do some manipulation to your site. They may hack your site. So considering all these things, if it is in your local machine or in your own server, in your own environment, that will be great, right? We can't have compare the shell scripting or the script which you develop with the ready-made available tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So apart from this, guys, we are still have we'll still have Abdul around. So if you have any question, you are seeing this YouTube chat where you can post your question, and we will have Abdul to answer all your questions till the end of this session. So our next presentation is by Srijit, and the topic is Zalenium powering UI automation. And a little bit about Srijit. He is ISTQB certified software testers with his ISTQB certified software tester with more than 5 years of experience in functional testing, manual testing, automation, and REST API automation. So anyone he has experience of software testing lifecycle, defect management, process complaints, and here is his LinkedIn profile that is attached in this presentation. So if you have any question, you can reach out to Srijit. Srijit, so I'll hand over it to you. You can take it up from here and you can start a presentation.
Sure, Mayur. Thank
Thanks.
yeah. So, hello everyone. Welcome aboard. Uh, Thanks, Mayur, for this opportunity to speak today.
Sure.
And yeah, so what I will be starting is a very simple demo of how do you do UI automation, uh, or how basically you execute your scripts. One second, guys. So is my screen visible now?
Yes,
Has
your
it
screen is
loaded?
visible.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. So yeah, so I don't have a PPT, guys, because I'll be just I've planned this more like a working session rather than a presentation, right? So
Sure.
basically over here, if you can see my screen, I have a very simple test in which I have started my basically something like an initializing a browser and just then a couple of assertions, right? So it's a very simple test case. What I would be showing you is how to do it on Selenium and what is Selenium in the first place, right? So as I know that from my experience of about 5-6 years in automation, both UI and in the services. So whenever we come to UI automation, right, it becomes because you always don't want to control the entire execution engine. You would rather have have something of a Selenium grid set up so that your executions do not always happen on a local machine, but somewhere on a remote server. Now, the challenge in that was, I hope everybody would have faced this challenge. The challenge in that was that you never knew how many nodes to register in Selenium Grid, right? You will not know that, okay, maybe today I want to run two cases, two test suits parallelly or five test suits parallelly. So I have to register two nodes and five nodes. So always you need to go to your slave machine if you're a Jenkins setup, and then increase or decrease the number of nodes you are registering to your Selenium hub. Or if you're always registering like 7 to 8 nodes, then that is an unnecessary nodes which are only running your slave machine and then slowing it down, right? So there is something as which is very new, which has come up, I think, in the past 1.5 year. So that is called Zalenium, right? So what is Zalenium is, this has been started by Zolando, a company called Zolando, and they have brought a flexible or an auto scaling Selenium grid, which runs basically inside a Docker containers. So in the last meetup, I was talking about automation of microservices, and I mentioned or touched about basically slightly on Docker, like what are Docker containers and how you can use them. So basically, guys, if you have some idea about Docker containers, so what it does is it starts a Selenium grid inside your Docker container, and then it executes your browsers inside a container, right? So what I have done is I have already gone ahead and pulled images and installed Docker in my current system. So but it's very easy to do actually. So if you have Docker installed, once you have Docker installed, you can just see. Suppose in my case, I have right. So here, so I already have Docker in my PC, and you can see that is the version, blah 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 blah. And currently, I haven't pulled. So as you know, the Docker has images and containers. It basically runs a particular image in a container, right? So currently, I don't have any Docker images running or anything as such as that. So this is the command, how to basically start a Docker container, right? Which will start Zalenium. So now what I'm doing is I'm just about to start my Docker container over here, right? So as you can see, it's like really easy. It's just 4 lines of code, and here now your Selenium grid is up and running, right? So as I have started it on, so you can see the ports over here in which it has started a node. So by default, so see, we haven't even registered a node, but we already have 2 nodes up and running. If you're using, or if you start off your Selenium grid locally, you have to do like Selenium Java minus jar and this server jar, and then you register a hub, and then you register a node. No need to doing that anymore. Just have your Docker image, and you can start with the command over here. So this is a very simple command. You can find it anywhere. It's just via simple Google search of Selenium commands, right? So now you can see that on my local server, it has registered 2 nodes. Now if I open my Google Chrome, I go this. This is the first step basically. So see, it shows me that, okay, I need to go to grid/console, right? So it shows me that it has registered 2 nodes already, which are both compatible with Firefox and Chrome. So currently I've done only with Firefox or Chrome just for the sake of simplicity. But others have IE and Safari, and you can explore more on that as well. For today's simplicity, I just gone with Firefox and Chrome. Yeah, right. So now you can see this has been started. Right. Now what we'll do is, yeah. So this is my simple test.ng XML file. What basically I'm trying to do is I'm trying to run a Chrome browser, and I'm trying to run a Firefox browser. So I'll have started the execution of my test script. So over here you can see that some tests are running, right? But you didn't see any browser launching or whatsoever. It didn't even launch any browser over here. Now why did that happen? Because what we did was we executed basically in a Docker container. So you cannot directly, so it will not launch in your OS or in your system. It has actually started it in your Docker container. So yeah, so the URL you can, how do you go is you can do like this. So currently nothing is running. Yeah, currently nothing is running. So see, just there are two nodes over here because the script is really executing fast. So I'll put on a delay of maybe around yeah, I had already put a delay. Yeah, so I'll put a delay of around 10 seconds. Maybe I'll just increase it to 100 seconds so that you'll be able to understand it better. So you go there. Now, so now you can see, right? It has inside the container. It has executed Google and the other, sorry, one with Google Chrome and the other with Firefox. See, it was really hassle-free. You didn't require much to code or much combinations to write. We just had to start the Zalenium image and in a Docker container, and that was it. So what I did was basically for Chrome. So I gave an options from my testng.xml file, uh, Chrome and Firefox. I put as thread count 2, and I'm currently executing my tests in parallel. And if you come to this test class, so over here it's basically expecting the parameter of browser name, and then it sees that okay, according to the which browser to initiate. So basically, it takes a remote WebDriver URL, right? You can what you can do is over here you can play it around and launch your Docker container in your remote cloud systems, in an AWS instance, or in any cloud digital cloud platform like DigitalOcean, AWS, or Google Cloud. So you can have one instance running over there. You can uh, put your Docker container and then you can launch it from there, right? So it becomes really easy in executing your cases. Yeah. So this was one. So the first feature which I just wanted to show you of of the way it is parallelly executing, right? So what it can do is if you have more number of threads or if you have more number of test cases, it can always go from 2 to 4 to 8, eight parallel nodes. So again, another thing is that you can, when it's not in use, right, it will automatically down the nodes, that the nodes will not be running anymore, right? So you can see from the logs over here, right, that it started something, it executed something, and then it's showing test timed out. That means the communication between initializing the browser and the driver after the driver dot quit, it got ended. So these timeouts you can parameterize via desired capabilities. I hope that most of the UI automation engineers who are following this are aware about desired capabilities. So I don't want to go down that path, right? Yeah. So the next cool feature of this is, so guys, what is the most difficult thing for an QA or an engineer, right? The most difficult is to convincing developers that something has been going wrong, right? And what happens is, even if we are taking screenshots, it's always not possible to gather screenshots whenever there's a transitioning or there's an error due to a transition or something like that, right? So it solves that problem as well. What it does is, if you go to the same port on which I have started my Zalenium, so if you go, it is basically recording your executions, right? So you can see that there is one with Firefox platform and the other with Chrome platform. So it makes a video of the execution which you are doing. So see, it has captured what we are executing and what we are doing. Now you can always go ahead and enhance it by adding highlight parameters on your validations and all that stuff. But what the beauty is that these videos are there, and if anything which you are having discrepancy and understanding that what is going wrong, you can always fall back to this video. And the another thing is that you can always download this video. So currently the download option is not there because I am running on this local file. But if you are using it via a remote, like via remote IP address and that dashboard, then you will find a download option. Oh, okay, it's there. You will find this download option as well over here. So what you can do is when you have this MP4 file format, right, you can use this as evidence and attach to your whatever tool which you guys are using, Qtest Manager, Jira, or test rail or anything, right? You can upload these videos as test evidences, so it becomes really cool in your reporting and your execution results. So yeah, so I wanted to keep this session small and just tell you that okay, something like this exists and how easily it's done and how scalable it is, right? So now we just move on to the Q&A section.
All right, thank you, Srijit. Thank you for the wonderful demo. That was really great to see Zalenium working. So there are so many questions that we have today for you. Okay,
Okay.
so first question is from anonymous user, and he's asking like how stable it is, like this Zalenium, like stability
So
in the sense. Yeah.
yeah, so guys, I have been using this for the last 2 or 3 months in my project,
Hmm.
and I have found it quite stable and really smooth. So until unless your system doesn't crash, right? Like your parent system doesn't crash, it works pretty well.
Okay. So another question by again
And
anonymous
yeah,
user.
sorry, just to continue, sorry to stop it, just to continue on that. So what you can also do on it, right? There are a lot of options available for optimizing the timeouts. Like suppose you have an API validation to do, and then come back to your UI and then validate something. So in that case, you can increase the timeout of your Selenium browser, because by default, I think it's somewhere around 90 seconds, or so between 90 seconds. If it doesn't receive a communication from the parent from the parent server, it will bring down that, it will disconnect that session. So it's very while executing first couple of times or 3-4 times, you will get an understanding that if you want to increase or decrease timeouts in that manner.
Okay.
uh, yeah, so yeah,
So timeouts is basically a main factor which you can use to make it more stabilized.
correct. So the thing is that people can use it according to their projects.
Right. Also, like there will be kind of explicit weight, implicit weights with
Correct.
Selenium
So
that goes on.
that is of your script execution.
Right. But
That
this is a
doesn't.
communication. If
Yeah.
the script
Correct.
is hanged out, then this will
Correct.
automatically time out within 90 seconds.
Correct. So even
Okay.
if your script, you have put a delay of 500 seconds, right? So the script will wait for that update for 500 seconds. But
Right.
then if Selenium timeout is 120 seconds, then it will go down.
Makes
So you have
sense.
to then find out that, okay, what is the best combination for your
Works
test
for
scripts and Selenium timeout. Yeah.
right. It will differ from person to person and project to project.
Yeah.
Okay. So second question is again anonymous. They're asking like what are the machines it will support
It
Selenium.
supports everything, guys. The beauty of it supports everything. Safari, IE, everything. What you can do is it's platform agnostic. So basically, so if you have a little bit understanding of Docker, so as you can see that Docker is platform independent, you can have the same Docker images running on your Mac or on your Linux or on your Windows, right? If you have the Docker installed in your system, then it becomes very simple. But in my experience, I have found it more comfortable to use on Linux-based applications or Unix-based application, because I'm more used to using working on Unix rather than on Windows machine. So
Okay.
I don't have much experience on Windows. So, but Windows also I've tried a couple of times, so it works well. So just need to have a little bit more patience in starting it up, but then it works quite well.
Okay. So, third question is from Ravi. He's asking like, do we need Docker to be set up before we use Selenium?
Yes, yes, yes. You need to have a Docker setup. That's a prerequisite, Ravi, because it basically what it does. It's basically there are a couple of images. Your Selenium image, which supports your browsers, and then your Selenium container image, which basically does that Selenium grid routing and scaling of your nodes. So basically, you need these to support. So I will, if you want, it's the URL is this is a URL which you can go to. It has
You're not sharing your
most.
screen, Sujit. So,
Oh, okay, sorry.
yeah.
Uh, Maybe okay. I can put it out on chat. Is that possible?
Yeah, you can put it on
Mm,
live chat, or you can
mm.
just ping me. I'll put it in live chat.
Okay. I put it on chat, so you can see, guys.
Yeah, I will take it up from there.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So this is a URL, guys, where you can find most information about it of how the basic steps to start off with. If you're
Mhm.
not able to do or if you're stuck in any issues, you can always reach me out on LinkedIn and we can discuss further.
Okay. So third question is from Tom.
Mhm.
He's asking like, will this thing auto upgrade or do we need to upgrade the things like like for example, Selenium server
Mhm.
will be like say 2.4 of 2.45.3 version
Yeah,
today.
so yeah, it doesn't require Selenium server update, guys. So what you can do is if you want to have to execute on a sorry, this is not that code. One second. Okay, sorry. So basically, if you want to execute on particular platform or particular version of your browser, right, you can always go and set it as your in your capability or in your Chrome options, and accordingly, it will pick up and initiate the browser of that version.
Okay. And next question is from Mark.
Mhm.
Do we need to clean up anything periodically? Like, I guess what he meant to ask is like when you use Windows grid, I mean the Selenium grid,
Yeah.
periodically, like it will create lots of temporary files, and we need to clean it up periodically.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So that's another pain with Selenium Grid, right? So the thing is that I am not. Uh, so the only logs which it generates, right, is this simple log over here. I don't think that the size is very big. But if your test scripts are really big and if you're continuously recording the videos, right, then I will suggest that if the video is sizes are getting increased, then you might need to clean that up once it has been done. But if it's not very long duration of test cases, if it's just 1 hour or 2 hours of execution, then I don't think you need to clean up the videos and everything on a very periodic basis. Yes, you can always do it at a once a month or twice in a month. But if you have sufficient storage of about 10 or 20 GB, then I don't think so. It's required to be done in that periodic manner.
okay. Another question is from Ragini. She's
Mhm.
asking like browsers are inside a Docker, right?
Yeah.
But how will that be similar to executing on actual browser? Like for example,
Mhm.
what she's trying to ask is we have a combination, right? Like execute it on Firefox inside Linux, execute Firefox inside Windows, and
Mhm.
execute Firefox inside Mac. So sometimes functionality will differ from browser
Platform
combination and
specific.
yeah, platform specific.
Oh.
So will that
Hmm.
will that be helping us in a Docker here?
Chandni, to be honest, I currently have only explored this on Linux platform, so I think I should not be commenting on other platforms. But what you can do is, when okay, I'll show you. So what? Okay, 1 second, 1 second, guys. I'll start the screen share and I'll just show you one more thing. I think that will make the So is my screen up, guys?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. So if you come over here, right, guys, so you can see this is the platform is taking as Linux. So when you
Okay,
are setting the capability, right, you can set the capability of which platform you want to execute. And I think Docker will then take, or the image will take the base of, or the OS of that platform and start it up there. So I think that should work by just giving a capability of which on which platform do you want to execute. But I haven't tried that out, to be honest. I'll try it out and I will update to you. If you can send me an email, I'll revert to you on that. But I think it
sure,
should be very simple. It should not be that much difficult.
sure. So thanks, Ragini, for a question. So as Sujit said, you can explore it further. He will also explore it, and if you have any question, we have his LinkedIn profile up, so you can contact him on LinkedIn also by email. Uh, so next question is from okay. Next question is from Frank, and he's asking like the UI which you're showing on the browser where the uh, things are executing. Right? So is it by Docker, or do we need to install anything separately to get that?
No, no, it's just simply on Docker. You don't need to install anything else. So once you're so basically what you need to do is you need to pull the images, right? You need to first to start Selenium, you need to pull a couple of Docker images, which is uh, Elgalu slash Selenium, and the other is Docel slash Selenium. So these two images you need to pull, and you are ready to start. So this is basically the highlighted part, right, which you see. This is just enough. If you have Docker installed, this is enough to start working on Selenium. It's that easy, guys. That is why I love this technology, and that's why I appreciate Zolando on Twitter and on various platforms. This makes the life of a QA engineer, or specifically a UI automation engineer, a lot simpler in maintaining and executing our test. So no more registering individual nodes in Selenium Grid. No more maintaining them. So this does the entire job for you.
Okay. So next question is from user called TMH, and he's
Mhm.
asking like does that grid by auto scale?
Yeah, that auto scales. So if you have seen, right, currently if you go there, there will be, I think they might have one registered. One second. Uh, This is basically the URL admin slash live in which you can, and there is another option such as interact VNC. So where basically what you can do is if your script is running and it has got stuck or something, you can click on here and then you can operate on that system and you can work on it. So this is another cool feature. So yeah, as you were saying, it can auto scale. So currently, if you see that it has only two registered, but if I want, I'll just open. Not sure how that got closed. Yeah. Yeah. So currently, if you see, right, I'm doing only two. But if I do this, I go to four and I copy this. When I start this, you'll see that it will auto scale to four.
Okay. So that was a very good question actually.
Okay, why is it not done? Why is it only two? One sec. So I actually have tried it out. It was working earlier. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. So, but it auto scales. So I have seen it to 6, 7 browsers working really well.
Okay. Nice. So next question is
Maybe
from
something with my script, I guess.
sure.
Okay, yeah. Next question.
All right. So next question is from John, and he's
Mhm.
asking, is there any
Oh, sorry,
Jenkins.
that was there was a delay. So see if you, so
Okay,
it has now there are four browsers up. I think initially something else was running on it or something like that. So you can see that four browsers got up. Initially only the two nodes were registered. Now it's four nodes are registered.
so it's auto
Maybe
scaling.
my, yeah, it's auto scaling. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Next question, Mayur.
Okay, so next question is from John, and he's asking, is there any Jenkins plugin that we can use to integrate this?
So what I have done, John, right? The
Yes,
person's name. Yeah.
yes.
Hi, John. Thanks for your question. So what I have done is, uh, Jenkins, right, has a slave on which your code or your build or whatever gets run. So on the slave, so we have the slave which is basically a Linux platform. So on that slave machine, I have started up this Zalenium server, and whenever I'm giving the URL of whenever I want to execute, I basically mm, so what I do is I give that this is something else, but basically what I am doing is I give the URL of that particular system in my code, and whenever it's running over there, it automatically runs on that. But I don't think so any plugin is required as such. I have my Cucumber plugin because I'm executing via Cucumber. So the Cucumber plugin then sees that okay, what are the test results, and marks the build pass or fail accordingly. But no such plugin is required for this.
Cool. So another question is from Shreyans Jain, and he's asking if we have any video uh, where
Mhm.
we can show step by step instruction on installing Docker image and start Selenium from scratch.
So okay, guys. So very, I don't think so that you will need a video or as such, because these are just the four steps required. Only you can go to this site. Suppose if you want to do it on Mac, actually on Mac it was really simple. So you can go to register on Docker Store and download from Docker Store. That's what I had done. So what you need to do is have a username and credential setup, and then they will give you the file, and then you can basically it's just a DMG file, and you can install it. The same way for Windows as well. They will send you a .exe file, I guess. You can download that and then execute that file, and your Docker is up and running. So if you see, right, this sign, if you can see, this is basically the sign that once Docker is up, is healthy and it's up and running, it's installed and it's working. I actually thought of doing that step as well in starting of my video. Then I didn't want it to mix Docker installation steps with this, because then otherwise it would have ruined the purpose of the same. But yeah, installing Docker is like very simple, guys. It's just one pager documentation you can find very easily on Google search. If you want to connect on that, if you have any issues, you can always connect to me offline, and I can help you out.
Great. Yes, makes sense. So thank you, Shans, for the questions. As you said, as Srijit said, only the documentation that we have is sufficient. But still, if you have faced any difficulty, we have Srijit's LinkedIn profile. You can connect to him, and if you have any question, you can have a chit chat with him, and he will just try to help you out as much as possible. Uh, Thank you, Srijit. I guess we are done with questions for today.
Mm.
Uh, so I'll just continue with the next presentation.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mayur. Yeah.
Thanks. So, all right, everyone. So, apart from this, if you still have any questions, we are here for a while. You can see this live chat next to your YouTube video, or in mobile, you can see the bottom. You can see the live chat, and you can post your question. And we have the presenters still available while I talk about the while I talk about the sites that we have, and they'll be able to answer the questions for you. So, moving on, my next presentation is about question and answer site that we have. So we have a question answer site where it's very straightforward. Anybody can register and ask a question. There will be people around there who can answer the community of people who will take that question, who will answer for you. And that also has a system called comment. So this is site softwaretestingboard.com/Q&A. And to access this site, either you have to log in or register. The first time you need a register, so you can register using your email ID, and you can fill your all the information. Since I already have account, I'll use that. So this is a ask a question page. So you can post your question in a single sentence, and you can brief about your question. If it is a technical question, you can post more and more about what you tried, your code, and your error that you're facing. If it is non-technical question, you can give as much information as possible. It is very important to create a proper tag for the question. When you post a question, the system will automatically suggest a tags to you. You can choose to use the existing tag, and people who are following the tag will get the notification, and they'll be able to answer you the question. If you already registered and if you want to answer a question, you can go to the questions page. For example, this is one question being asked, and you can see the answer section here. You can post answer here. Apart from that, if you have any counter question on the question asked, or any comment or anything, you can click on comment, and it will open a comment box, and you can post a comment. Similarly, uh, you can also comment on answer. For example, if you have any counter question, or if you want to have more clarification answer, you can post a comment on the answer, and people will be community of people will be able to answer to you there. So this is a simple question answer site. No other restriction here. uh, Next thing that we have is a meetup site. So whatever monthly meetup or meetup that we organize, we consolidate all the recordings and presentations as well as agenda in one page. There you can find it at softwaretestingboard.com/meetups, and you can go through that. You can go through all the meetups that we have. It will have all the necessary links, presentations, and video recording. So all the information you can find it in one site. And further, if you have any question uh, regarding this meetup, any question, comment, or any suggestion, feedback, anything you want to post it, you can post it as a comment in a comment box at the bottom of the page. So if you want to be a speaker for our next meetup, we have a Google form that you can fill it up. So here you can provide your email address, mobile number, your name, your title or a talk of the presentation, and your LinkedIn profile, and submit it, and we'll contact you for the next process. If you don't, if you want, you can also find uh, this Google form link on our YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com and search for software testing board. And here you can see the rec- recorded videos. So since this is live, it will show it as a live video. And that is in the description, you can see this link. Also, apart from that, you can go to about page, and you can find a link in the about us page of the channel. So this is it. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Subscribe and click on the bell icon. So next meetup when we start next month, you will get a notification. Apart from that, we also regularly update uh, videos apart from the meetup videos. So you'll get notification every time we update something. And if you want to contact us, you can go to softwaretestingbot.com/contact-us, and you can see the contact form over there, and you can send us an email through this contact form. And apart from that, we are also available on LinkedIn, Twitter, SlideShare, and meetup.com. So if you have any question, you can ask us there. So thank you, Srijit, and thank you, Abdul. We have one question for Abdul. Hey Abdul, are you available?
Yeah, Mayur,
Okay. So there was
please
a
go ahead.
yes. So this is a question from anonymous user, and they're asking like, do we have any ready-made shell script uh, or any GitHub project that can be directly utilized instead of writing the whole code?
Um, I haven't uploaded anything in GitHub, so I'll do that. Upload the scripts for different use cases which I have written and share it. Share you the GitHub link so that can be posted in the testing board site.
Sure,
I'll be doing that.
sure.
Mm,
Sounds good.
yeah.
All right. So thank you, everyone. We don't have any more questions from the users. So thank you, viewers, and thank you everyone for questions and the wonderful meetup. And thank you, Abdul again. Srijit, I guess he left the meetup now. So thank you, everybody, and see you in the next meetup. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.